Okay, recording is officially in progress. And what I want to talk to you guys about today is really just what to not do. Who was I? I was telling my story of staffless practice to somebody. I can't think of who it was. I was just telling this story and I was talking about how I've done all of the things that you really shouldn't do. And that's how I can say with confidence, these are the things that you just don't want to do. If you're trying to save time and energy in practice, if you're trying to get to the point where you don't have to bring staff in to get things done, you put efficiency front and center so that you go to the office and the only thing you have to focus on is giving great care. Because that's really the point, right? That's why we're in practice. We're in practice to serve great care, not to manage people, not to manage systems, not to check off checklists. It's just not what we signed up for. If you're joining me in the Facebook group, please say hi. Just drop a hi in the comments. I'd love to see who's here and who's watching and who's hanging out with me. We're going to talk for about 15 minutes on my top 3. Don't ever do these. Okay, so first of all, I want to remind everybody to take a deep breath and to hold on to these things lightly, because before you know it, you're going to blink and you're going to be 23 years in practice like I am. Or maybe you're even ahead of me, you've been in practice longer, you know how fast it goes. And if you are not enjoying the practice, if you're not enjoying the process, you're missing the boat, right? Because life's too short. Hi, Gisela, I'm glad that you're here. So 3 things to never do when it comes to efficiency at the front desk, okay? The first thing I'm gonna say is don't hold on to it too hard. Don't white knuckle your way through practice. Let me give you a couple of examples. When I was new in practice, I knew everything. I was a new grad, I knew it all, right? I was super clear on what I knew. I knew that you knew that I knew it, right? And then a couple years in, I remember feeling like, I don't know what I know anymore. I don't even know. I started second guessing all of the things that I was sure that I knew because I was a new graduate. And I'm talking more about technique at that time. Now, with my journey with staffless practice, when I started with the staffless way, when I started running a practice without staff, I threw all hands up and I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to figure out what to do with the freaking phone if I want to focus on the baby on my table. I don't know what to do. Go back a couple of years. I don't know what to do with these team members who are looking to me to manage them, who are looking to me to put the fires out and create solutions for them, and what to do about raises and what to do. Nobody taught me how to do these things. So what I found was, with all of these I don't knows, all of these question marks, and you're going to have a lot of them if A, you're new in practice, or B, you're doing the practice thing in a different way, or C, you're trying to do it in a different way. The lighter you hold on to it, the more it will flow and the more things will surface with their solutions. Anything that I try to white knuckle and control, I lose control of. That's the truth. And one of my favorite sayings is nail it into the stud in the wall, like get it so that you could hang like 5 bodybuilders off of it, but hold on to it really lightly. And this is, I'm talking about all of the systems, all of the stress, all of the things that you're sure have to be done every week, every day, every hour, whatever it is. You guys, I just printed out my to-do list for the week. I'm holding on to it lightly, because if I hold on to it too hard, my hands are going to get sore and I need my hands, right? And I'm not going to enjoy it. So hold on to it lightly. That's thing 1. Thing 1 is don't hold on to it too hard. Thing 2, don't automate things that shouldn't be automated, because it's just going to be cheesy. You're just going to drop the personal experience. And if you are like me, where you are really attached to connecting with your practice members and making sure that they know that you know that they know how much you love to serve them, you don't want to do cheesy impersonal automation. So I just had a client this morning asking me about a texting program that automates appointment reminders. It automates a whole funnel of messaging and all of these things. And my response to her is, this is what works for me. It works for me to keep simplicity front and center when it comes to communication systems for my practice. Because the more complicated it is, usually what happens with me is I forget the complication. I forget what it is because I'm always looking at like the next thing, and I get myself really overwhelmed. I'll forget about the automation, and then I'll renege on the automation by doing something impulsive, and I'll just look like an ass, right? So let me give you an example of that. Wait, I want a sip of tea. I'm really into Tulsi tea. I went to Arizona last week to study with my coaches, and there's a restaurant there called True Food Kitchen. And they make this tea. It's like lemon, ginger, honey tea. And I'm just trying so hard to recreate it. So I got my tea. Let me take a sip. Thing number 3, by the way, is always make time to take time. But I'll get to that in a minute. The example is, let's say that I'm at the supermarket and I run into Sally. Sally is my avatar. She's my perfect practice member. She's the mom who has the kid throwing the temper tantrum on the floor of the supermarket while she's wearing her baby and breastfeeding. She's on the phone. She's got 50 things of organic groceries in her cart. She forgot her bags in her car. And by the way, in New Jersey, they don't give you bags. So she's like up Poops Creek without a paddle. Right? And she is my person. She is who I set my office up for. I know exactly what to do with her. I know exactly what to do for her. I've been serving her for 23 years. So let's say that I run into Sally in the supermarket and she's in the middle of the temper tantrum and the breastfeeding session and the food in the cart and the no bags. And I say, hey, Sally, can I give you a hand? Give me the baby. Let me hold the baby and you deal with the tantrum, and I'll run out to your car with the baby and I'll get the bags and I'll come back in. She knows me, so I can walk out of the store with her baby. And I come back in and I say, it was so good to see you. Here's your baby. I'll see you on the table. By the way, when are you coming back in? There's your reminder to get on your chiropractor's table. But let's say that last week I set up a really complicated automation that funnels all of these text messages and email contacts that goes out to Sally when a certain thing is triggered with a certain automation that I forgot about because I saw Sally in the supermarket completely disconnected from the automation. And Sally, the very next day, gets a text from me saying, hey, Sally, it's Dr. Jody. I haven't seen you in a long time. Just checking in on how you are. How does that look? What would Sally feel? Would Sally feel like my communication was authentic? So my point is, the cleaner you are and the more simple you are with your communication with your practice members, the easier things are going to be. By the way, if you want to jump on with me to have me listen to what you've got going on, drop the word jump below and I'll set it up. Okay, so that's the automation piece. And that's true for emails. That's true for an answer call service. There's nothing worse than calling like a practice that, let's say a massage therapist practice, and having an answer call service answer who is completely disconnected from what's happening at that massage therapist practice. If someone's going to answer, I want them connected to the mission and the vision of the practice. I want to feel like they see me as a client. Otherwise, I'd rather shoot a quick text and have it be done in 3 seconds or less. Not with an automated text coming back, with a text saying, hey, Jody, it's so great to hear from you. You got it. I'll put you in, and a little emoji to follow it. Totally perfect. Okay, so that is, don't impersonalize automation. Okay. So the first thing is hold on to it lightly. The second thing is don't impersonalize automation. The third thing is keep yourself out of overwhelm. That's what I'm going to give you today. Keep yourself out of overwhelm. Don't let yourself get so overwhelmed that you just want to hide under the covers. And that is really easy to do right now, you guys. I always share this. When I was new in practice, there were no computers, there was no cell phone. If I wanted to call somebody, I had to go home and go to the phone in the kitchen on the wall and pick it up and call them. If I wanted to check my voicemail, I had to go home and check my voicemail. That's the world that I grew up in. And what's happened is the world has moved really fast, and half of the people who I grew up with have moved away from that pace, and half of them have leaned into it. Thank goodness I've leaned into it, but boy, oh boy, my adrenals have too, right? So the key is to balance overwhelm with self-care, because there's no way that you can run a business right now in today's world without the overwhelm hitting you. And the remedy to it is self-care. As much overwhelm, that much self-care. I'm going to give you a couple of pointers on how I take self-care and put it into action. Again, if you want to jump on the phone with me, you want me to take a listen, whether it's on WhatsApp or a phone call, drop the word, what did I say? Chat in the comments below, and we'll jump on. So here are my go-tos. It's Monday. There's a lot going on this week. It's a busy week in my family. We had a busy weekend. And the first thing I did today is I put my workout in the center of my day. And I said, I can give a yes to everything else as long as my workout is in the center of my day. I need to be selfish with my self-care so that I can give to everybody else. So I'm giving you permission to be selfish with your self-care, especially if you're running a practice without staff. Here's one of the downfalls to not having staff. Are you ready for it? There's nobody at the front desk to protect you from what's coming in the door. You know what I'm talking about. I've had really wonderful women work with me on my team. And if they're at the front desk and they know that I'm in a place of overwhelm, or I'm hungry, angry, lonely, tired, whatever it is, they're there to protect me so that if there's an energy storm coming into the office, they give me a heads up. We have some kind of a baseball sign about it. If you don't have that source of protection or that filter, self-care you have to skyrocket it. And if you don't do that, you're going to burn out. I'm telling you right now. So self-care looks like stopping and grabbing yourself a cup of tea. It looks like putting your workout in the center of the day. It looks like being selfish with your time for an hour a day. Or I shared with our student group this morning, it looks like taking 15 minutes every day and doing nothing at all. You know how hard that is to do? Every day. It looks like being on point with your nutrition. It looks like spending time with the people who love you most. That's self-care. And unfortunately, what I have found is that we're usually the last people to engage in self-care, our wellness care providers, because we're so busy caring for everybody else. I beg of you, and I give you permission if you feel like you need it, to take 15 minutes and do nothing at all today. Because if you don't stop to do these things, if you don't stop to stop, you're going to hit a wall, and then you're not good for anybody. And that's not what we want. So 3 things to never do when you're trying to streamline your space, right? And then we'll go into physical space in a minute. The first thing that you never want to do is you never want to neglect self-care. You never want to hold on too tight, and you never want to automate what shouldn't be automated. Okay. As far as physical space is concerned, because that was in the title of today, and for those of you who are like, I need to hear about physical space, here we go. So, and again, if you want to connect with me, if you want to talk to me, if you want to have a phone call, drop the word chat in the comments and we'll make it happen. As far as physical space is concerned, when I was writing the blog post for this week, I was talking about how I used to have this huge front desk, and it was like an energy barrier to anybody walking in the office. Like, this was our side and this is your side, right? And it never made sense to me. So the first thing I did is I got rid of my front desk when I went staffless. The second thing I did is I got rid of the office phone. Honestly, I did. The third thing I did is I got rid of all of the things where the admin was happening. Like if there was a computer and the admin was happening there during my office hours, I got rid of it. I don't want to see any of that while I'm serving my practice members. If I'm going to see 30 people in a 2-hour period, which is a lot for me, it might not be a lot for you. Some of you guys see 200-300 people a week, a day. I don't know, like crazy, amazing numbers, right? Not my jam at all. Let's make that clear right now. But if I'm going to see 30 people in a day, 30 people is a lot of energy to move through. Okay. So I needed to make it so that the people who come to my office when they're there, they can get what they need administratively without my time, energy being in the mix. And these are called your client centers or your help yourself areas. We have an entire, right, Dr. Lizzie, I agree. It felt so good to get rid of the office phone, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We have an entire 12-week program where we walk you through increasing efficiency in your practice. And we look at, the first thing we look at is the physical space of the practice. And then we look at your time, energy, money. And then we look at what to do with texting, the phone, and email to make things streamlined. That's our 12-week program in a nutshell. So the first thing we do is we look at the physical space of the office, and here comes the what to never do. What to never do with your physical space is think that you need to add more as opposed to take away more. You don't need to add more, but less is more when it comes to space, especially if you have a busy practice. If you have a couple of chairs and maybe a cute painting in the corner, that's all you need, you guys. You don't need a whole lot more. The client centers or the help yourself areas are, what do people need while you're in practice to take care of in that moment? What needs to be taken care of in that moment? Usually they need to pay you. Sometimes they need to go to the bathroom or grab a snack because their blood sugar is low. Usually they need something to drink, right? Probably their kids are going to need some toys to play with. They might need something to read. Like, what do they need while they're in your space? They need to pay you. They need to reschedule. They might not need to reschedule while they're in your space, though. That's something that can happen when you're not in client hours. So you need to walk around you don't need to. This is how you're going to make things easier. Walk around your physical space. Ask yourself the question, what do my people need while I'm serving them that I don't have the time, energy, or desire to take care of if all I want to do is come to the office and give great care? Usually it looks like money, food, bathroom, entertainment for kids, entertainment for adults to read, whatever, while they're waiting, if they're waiting. Do you want your practice members to be waiting? That's another question. If they are running late and there's nobody answering the phone and you don't want to look at a screen to answer a text, how do you deal with that? I'm going to end on this note. One of my client calls that I had this morning, we were talking about cause, solution. So the cause for the trouble is that I don't have enough time in the day. The solution is that I take stuff out of what's energy sucking my world, get rid of it, and more time will develop. First of all, there's no such thing as not having enough time, because time it's a man-made concept, right? It's just energy. So if I have a cause of stuff, of unrest, of discontent in my heart, in my gut, in my cerebral cortex, wherever I feel it, right? If there's a cause of disconnect or a distress, what does that cause need to have a solution? This is, and for my chiropractors, subluxation adjustment. What's the force that needs to happen for the subluxation to be corrected or released? So in your world, in your practice, take a bird's eye view for a minute, figure out what the cause of the distress is. And that's what, if you want to jump on the phone call, that's what we'll discover is what's the cause of the distress. And then the most important thing is you figure out what the solution is. Usually, if you're running a practice without staff, you have to look at time, energy, money. You have to look at your physical space, and you have to look at how you're communicating with your practice members to make things more efficient. Okay, was that helpful? I hope that was helpful to you guys. The cool thing, and I'm going to say this super clearly to you, the cool thing is that my office is my classroom to continue the discovery of these systems. I go to my office 4 times a week and I serve my practice members. And every single time I go to the office, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's another system that I need to implement and put in front of the Staffless Practice community. So because I'm in my playground, because I've got my classroom, which is my practice, and 2 birds, 1 stone, I'm also giving really great chiropractic care and helping so many families and loving the experience of it. Because that's happening, this continues to evolve, which is one of my very favorite parts about the whole thing. Okay, if you're watching me from Facebook, if you have any questions, this is the time to drop them in the comments. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a gentle reminder. If you want to jump on with me for a phone call, drop the word call or phone or whatever in the comments. My awesome team will see that you dropped the word and set you up for a chat with me. Okay, I'm loving you guys from here. Go make the world better with great care. And we're always right here if you've got anything for us.